All right, I'm excited. This is Saravanan Ganesh. I'm interviewing quite a few people, experts, business owners, entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, multi-eight-figure agencies, seven-figure agencies, coaches, experts, to raise money for an orphanage that I support in Sri Lanka. But today's interview with Deepak Shukla, I'm totally excited because this is one man who has many faces. And I think you can do a better job of introducing Deepak, but just a quick introduction. He's the founder and owner of Pearl Lemon Group, is a holding company, has so many freaking companies inside that which he starts and he runs, right? From marketing agency, coffee shop, accounting company. I don't know how many years we're going to dive into that. And all the while, half the time I see him running ultra marathons, right? So I'm excited to pick your brain. How do you even live your life, brother? I'm excited. Thank you for showing up. Truly appreciate that.
Well, hey, thank you for inviting me on, Saravanan, and yeah, really excited to talk to you. And yeah, no, I like a full life. I have a lot of energy, and I am continuously tried to do my best to I guess move the needle in terms of projects. I guess I come from an environment where, as much as people preach about the importance of focus, I would like to be somewhat of an exception to the norm, and I'm trying to build a, you know, I guess the model that I'm trying to follow is what the Easy company have done, as in EasyJet, Easy this, Easy that, or what Richard Branson has done with Virgin. And I think that actually in today's world, it's very apt to do something to that effect. But I mean, I would say that you're quite right. Running actually is a big underlying factor for the energy that I do have for things. So I was running long before I had businesses, and I think that, you know, I've always had that level of desire and passion to want to get a lot of things done, and that's why running has always kind of been there even before ultimately all of the businesses kind of started and launched. But hey, look, let's kind of get into it. I don't know if you've got specific questions, or I can just broadly talk about everything.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
yeah,
This is
yeah.
good. Why don't we start? Why don't we do this? Why don't you give an overview of everything you're doing right now in terms of what companies are doing and all that, and then go back to, okay, who were you before all this, right? And your
Yeah,
quick
sure.
journey on where that. So
Yeah,
where are you right now? What are you all doing? What do you have your
yeah,
hands on
sure.
everything right now? And then
Yeah.
maybe how did it all get started, Deepak?
Okay, amazing. So I'm 38 right now at the time of recording. I live in, I'm British Indian. Family came over as economic migrants. I think that, you know, hard work was something that was very normal in a migrant environment. My dad, I guess, had an entrepreneurial buzz, and he never saw that fulfilled because my parents had an arranged marriage. 11 and 13, mum and dad got married. First time they met, they got married. 15-year-old, when my mum was 15, she was already pregnant with my twin sisters, had the kids
Wow.
at 16. So a real, when I talk about economic migrants, it's still not the standard stuff. My parents were uneducated. My mum dropped out of school at 7, flew back to India because she moved when she was 7, flew back to India at 11 to get married. And then she didn't see my dad for 2 years because he was still saving up the money to come from India to the UK. So it's been an unusual story, but what's been at the core of it is, you know, 100-hour weeks were very common. It was a normal thing watching my mum and dad. So that's been really useful. So yeah, today I'm 38. I live in Italy. My wife, my Italian wife, that's why I'm in Italy. We live in the countryside, just above this beautiful lake with my dog Fritz, who's next to us. We adopted a senior dog recently, and also our cat Jenny. We want to have our own children. We're also in the process of adopting. We want to get an orphan from India. So we've been speaking to adoption agencies at the moment about that process and getting that started. And then, of course, with work, I run, obviously, you said, the holding company is the Pearl Lemon Group. And underneath that, we just closed out our first year for our accountancy and legal practice. It was funny because I was talking to my accountant. It was a small first year, but it's one of the many side projects. We did about £30,000, £6,000 profit. But my accountant was laughing, saying, "Oh, you as an accountancy and legal practice that doesn't have a single accounting or legal actual person within your company made more money and profit than I did in my first year when I started out. And that's been one of the new projects that we've started. And we've got like multiple businesses that are between mid 5 figures up to 6 figures. Some of them do over 100K, which is a catering company does over 100. A game development company maybe hovers around 70 and 80, and they're all steadily and slowly growing in the background. We launched a cleaning company, I think about 8 weeks ago. We've got maybe 20, 30 clients at the moment. We've got into the home repair business. I think we did our first £5,000 job, which was interesting. I have no background in it either. So yeah, there's and the core of it is obviously the marketing agency. So there's more than enough stuff outside of, at the moment I'm training for a 200-mile run, which I've got in December. So I'll run an ultra marathon every weekend at the moment. I'm out running between 4 to 7 hours every weekend, outside of all of the weekly runs that I do during the day, walking the dog 4 times a day because he's new and coming to the family. It's funny because I had to slow down my walks with my dog because I was wearing my dog out as opposed to the other way around. So I said, okay, I'll kind of slow that down. So it's a full life, and it's a happy life. Let's say that.
Wow, I love that. We're talking about all this. It's funny. I think a lot of entrepreneurs, may not be everyone, but I am a little bit similar to you. When you have the skill that to generate leads for any business, right? That's our core marketing, right? That's our core business, SEO or any kind of lead gen agency. As an entrepreneur, there's so many opportunities out there. You can like every shiny object. Like I've been toying with the idea of starting my own tree company, my own cleaning company. I actually started my own cleaning company. I just couldn't. Yeah, and that's why I'm excited to talk to you. We'll dive into that more. But between everything that's going on, I have a coaching program, SEO coaching program, which takes a lot of my time. I have my full agency, right? And then I just couldn't do everything, kind of a thing. And I really quickly realized for my cleaning company, I had to have good operational people, I guess, right?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
And I hired the wrong people and stuff like that, whatever.
Sure.
So we'll dive into all that. My first question is, how many hours do you sleep?
You know what? I think that, so I sleep 6 to 8 hours. I sleep regularly. Look, I think that one of the biggest things that I realized over the last 18 months, so I want Pearl Lemon to become a £1 billion company, right? And at the moment we do a couple of million a year. And obviously that's a huge gulf. But what was interesting that changed within the last, to be honest with you, the last 12 months, there's 2 books that I read, from Good to Great and Built to Last by Jim Collins. Seminal books. It's not kind of new literature in the world of entrepreneurship. It's foundational literature. But what was really interesting about reading those 2 books was that the inordinate amount of time that successful CEOs spent on identifying the right people to help them build their organization, and that reality that if you're obviously the most smartest or capable person in the room, you're in the wrong room. But what that meant practically in an environment where you were seeking to hire people, and honestly, you're bootstrapping. So you're hiring people where you don't or can't in the beginning have the ability to spend, let's say, $100,000 on a salary, because you just can't compete on those terms. So reading that book was seminal, because I really invested time in trying to build great operators within my company. And what the interesting part was that was really interesting for me was that if you really look at, and this is the thing that I think that a lot of what's helped me be successful is identifying really great people that can run the different parts of the business. And the reality is that I don't always, I don't know how to successfully build yet, for example, a 6-figure cleaning company. We started 2 months ago, and there's so many unknowns. And that's inherently the problem, of course, when you don't know exactly what problems you're going to encounter. But one thing that's common amongst all service-based businesses, and I'm a services guy, so I don't do product. And I don't do product, whether it's physical or it's SaaS, right? And I've kind of recognized that that's my preferred area of service, if you will. But in the end, all companies are service-based businesses, in that it's all about human capital, because you have to have great people to build big things. You need builders, you need great operators. So when I understood that, I then began to over-index on cultural and skill alignment within my company. So the biggest amount of time that I spend is identifying people that I think have the ability to be great or already are great, and then to nurture them as heavily and aggressively as possible. And I try and identify those people, particularly in developing economies. So that's been hugely instrumental for me.
Hey there, if you're enjoying this content, I'd love to take just 60 seconds of your time and share something very close to my heart. You see, I was born in the beautiful country of Sri Lanka. I was fortunate to escape the civil war that plagued that country for many years. While the country has enjoyed peace for 15 years now, the effects of that conflict are still deeply felt, especially by children who lost their parents, siblings, entire families. But I'm not just here to ask for a donation. I'm here offering something valuable in return, an incredible opportunity that could positively impact your own life. I partnered with over a dozen top-tier industry experts in SEO, online marketing, direct mail, YouTube ads, copywriting, entrepreneurs, and more. These aren't just any experts. They are 7- and 8-figure business owners. They've built multi-million-dollar businesses. But more importantly, each of them have also helped countless people achieve success. By supporting this cause, you'll not only be making a difference to these children, but you'll also gain access to exclusive knowledge, secret trainings from these industry leaders. As a matter of fact, I was able to even twist their arm to give away exactly what's working right now on YouTube ads, in search engine optimization, and even in depth in things like, how to get clients, schema markup, cold email, a lot more. Some of them even agreed to give one-on-one mentorship and group coaching opportunities to those who donate, all available to those who support this charity. Click the link to join the waiting list where you'll get access to all this training and more. On October 29th, you will receive an email with a link to donate and unlock this exclusive content. Thank you again.
Because I understood that, well, you know what, if I can align ultimately my goals with the goals of people within my company, and that's one of the other things I think that's important. One of the things that Alex Hormozi speaks about is that if you want to find great people, you need to have a vision that's big enough that other people can see themselves fitting their career inside of your vision. And I combine that with another reality that when you look at the war for talent, so if you look at the bulge bracket banks, so if you look at Goldman, if you look at Morgan Stanley, if you look at Google, if you look at Apple, if you look at Netflix, no one is going there actually for money. Everyone is going there for things other than money because it all equalizes at a certain point. At a certain level, people don't care if they're earning 200 versus 240. They care much more about the values that are associated with that company. And then if you also look at the not-for-profit space or government work, there's people that, go to Harvard Law and then work in the criminal justice system where they make no money. Right. So actually, when you understand and this is one of the things I think that small operators don't get right, that I understood this year, that there's many, many other things that people come for that aren't money. And if you over-index on aligning that, you can significantly increase the stock of caliber of people that you get in the company without ultimately needing to pay them a Spotify salary when you've only got a Starbucks ultimately ability to spend. But that's because you're indexing on the wrong thing. So that was hugely instrumental to me, and that's changed.
That has changed. Yeah.
So
that's a good point, because I think I'm probably at a stage where you would have been 2, 3, 4 years ago when you have a pretty decent SEO agency and you're looking to branch out. So because I have a community of people who kind of learn from me in SEO, and I teach them something called rank and rent. I'm not sure if you heard of that, right? So as an example, we have people where I have a guy, his name is Manish, very introvert person, lives in Pennsylvania, new to SEO in March of this year. Then he learned the skills. He put up his own website, a cleaning website in his small city of 60,000 population, right? Following our process and all that. People started finding the website and calling him. Amazing. And he quickly found out he's not an extrovert sales kind of a person, introvert person. And he was like, hey, I don't even know how to talk to contractors to rent this out. So I told him, why don't you maybe just start your own business and subcontract it? Because trying to sell something was not easy for him. But when somebody came and said, hey, I need a cleaning, can you give me a free quote? He doesn't have to sell why, he just has to say, okay, I'll come and give you a free quote. And then the subcontractor long story short, in 4 months, he's at like $7,000 a month recurring income,
Amazing.
right?
Amazing.
And then he started branching into commercial cleaning. So when you said cleaning, right? Commercial cleaning is where money. One of my clients, he's no more a client of mine now, but a good friend of mine. He's like $200,000 a month commercial cleaning,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was just like a normal guy. So let's take a step back. A lot of people in my community, me included, right? Even though I'm running an agency, would love to learn. If you're starting an agency right now, a client agency, I guess that should be the first one. So you can run a company, you figure out the operations of it and all that. Let's start on what were your first hires? What would you recommend your, like, what can, I know there's sales, there's operations. Maybe you do the sales initially, but eventually, like, how do you, lead generation, sales, fulfillment, right? Maybe client relationship, the 3, 4, 5 pillars. If you can give your ideas and insights around that, but somebody's just looking to start their SEO agency or marketing agency, what you've learned, what kind of structure you have, anything around those in your running a day-to-day SEO or marketing company, let's start there, and then we can go into other companies that you have.
Absolutely. So I think that in the beginning, you have to understand if you're going to be owner or operator, and they're different skills. If you're an operator, when you're within an agency, even if you're agency of one, so you're a freelancer, then you're in the context of SEO. Maybe you're updating the meta titles, you're optimizing for keywords. So when I began, understood that I've to this day never optimized a keyword on any single client site ever. From day one, I knew that that wasn't what the skill that I thought would get me to the outcome that I wanted. So direction, having a sense of direction, I do think is important, because the skill that I thought I wanted to over index on for me was how to manage and run a business. And SEO and digital became the first business, but I knew that then the reading that I would benefit from wasn't about learning in-depth SEO, because actually what I needed to develop the skill set for was to know how to recruit great people that could execute these things and how to manage such people. So I think that the first thing that I would say is that there's 2 sets of reading here. People that want to, for example, become paid, let's say, media specialists, and different forms of paid media, because organic is still really a form of paid media. You pay, so number one, if you're starting out, I'd say like reading books on like management. So I read a lot of books on recruitment, hiring, and management. And that changed a lot of things for me, because I understood that, well, if I can get a great diamond in the rough and I can understand how to get the best from him, that's going to take me much, 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 much further than if I choose to really focus upon, for example, one particular aspect of how to build and rank a website individually, because the reality was that as soon as you get a little bit successful, you have to outsource all of that work. And that's where the business tends to kind of fall apart a little bit, because processes got lost, but also the market moves. And you can't stay, that no one can stay current anymore. Like no one can stay current anymore. There's no currency, I think, in staying current, because there's just too, so reading the right literature, I think, is really important. I think a lot of people focus on learning a technical skill. You need to learn a skill well enough if you want to be a business owner to recruit for that skill. That's it. That's where, for me, the learning stopped. I want to know enough to understand what I'm hiring for, but then beyond that, there's no value in me being an operator to learn about the latest Google algo changes to then support latest client communication. Because if you've got the right person in the room, they're on top of that and they're learning that, and they want to learn that because their goals are aligned. So practically, I talk about this a lot because it relates to every facet of my business. Because day to day now, I'm absolutely, our agency is small. We do maybe between $80,000 to $100,000 a month. But what's interesting is that I don't do anything. I don't do anything.
That's a dream for a lot of people.
Yeah. So that's why I do the ultra marathons, and I will walk my dog 4 times a day, and I will spend 80% of my day away from my laptop, because I'm just on my phone messaging people on WhatsApp or receiving, oh, cool, we had 50 leads that came in today. Oh, cool, we had 30 leads that came in today. And then I will come to my laptop, don't get me wrong, but it's by choice. And the stuff that I'm heavily involved in is, how does this cleaning business work? How does this repair business work? Because what I focused upon, or what I have focused upon, is learning how to run a business. And I think that depending upon what you want to do, is the meta skill that will service any business that you ultimately want to run. Because if you're an operator, you're always going to know more about rank and rent than me. But so what's the leverage? The leverage is getting someone like you within my team who just loves being at Pearl Lemon, because that's much, much, much greater leverage over time. So Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan talk about it in a book called Who Not How.
Who Not How, yes, love it.
Yeah. So Who Not How, Built to Last, and Good to Great were really, really powerful books to me. And then
okay, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So then practically, let's get tactical, because I appreciate that some people find that too abstract and they're like, give me some tactics. So number one, I index on Pakistan as an economy. So all of my team, I switched from India to Pakistan because I looked at the economic growth of India and I saw India is going to get super expensive. Pakistan, there's lots of political trouble and economic problems, which means that you can get people that are of a similar skill set much, much, much cheaper. If you look on Rose or Indeed, if you look up local Pakistani hiring sites, a digital marketing graduate with no experience, full-time, is $60 a month.
Really?
Yes, you can look it up. There's advertised jobs in Pakistan where that's what people cost.
I'm paying $600 a month. Most of my team is in Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines is too expensive. I don't go to the Philippines anymore because I went to Pakistan, because I get now guys that are $400 a month and they kick ass when it comes to what they can do when it comes to SEO.
So let's break this down.
Yeah.
100K a month agency, right? Most of the people I talk to so I have a mastermind, I have a paid SEO coaching program, and then the people who kind of learn the skill and make the money, they graduate to a mastermind where I talk about building a team and all that. So that's something I am learning as I'm growing too, right?
Yeah, sure.
And one of the things I actually wrote this down to ask you is, I live in the US, I've been here 22 years, I'm originally from Sri Lanka, but my parents, my brother, 100 of my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, they're all in Australia. So one of the things is I want to go and live there for at least a year, 2 years and see.
Amazing.
And I know you just went from UK to Italy because you got married and all that, right?
Yeah.
Right now in my agency, we do closer to your numbers, actually a little bit less, to be honest, than your numbers, okay? I am still the face when it comes to not just, I have a salesperson, he helps me with sales, but still it's a lot of my time in sales and client acquisition. But also after they become clients, even though my team sends reports, once a while, getting on a call with them, things like that, my time goes in that, right?
Yeah.
So what kind of a team structure or bare minimum that I should be doing, should not be doing, should delegate, if I want to make it as automated, hands-free as you have it, where I have a lot of my time too, so I can go. I'm planning to go to Australia. It's a totally different time zone. All of that things. Anything around that, like maybe maybe you would say, you know what, your lead generation should have this. Your salespeople first thing you should do is get out of sales and have somebody dedicated for sales, like and if it's a salesperson, is he also doing client relationship after they become a client? Stuff like that. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, okay, so number one, to transition into being an operator to being a business owner, and that's where I'm at. Just for briefly, the goal always was to look. I'm 38. My 30s is what I call my personal MBA. I'm going to learn about business. I'm going to make all of the mistakes. And actually, the reason I'm very happy with my agency, because our revenue isn't big, but I genuinely have an agency where I do have a huge amount of freedom, because that's why I'm able to try and build an agency where I'm making all my mistakes and I haven't figured out what the problems are, because my agency just makes money and it's a cash flow and I'm not involved, as people often say I'm heavy. So practically then, number one, you need to have enough of a pipeline to be able to remove yourself and the agency's revenue to still remain stable, or for you to not suffer from it, because you will make mistakes. And the only way those mistakes become recoverable or replaceable is if you have enough of a pipeline to say, you know what, I put this sales guy John on, John disappeared, or John did a rubbish job, but I can step big in at any point. So volume, I think, volume negates luck. Volume can overcome mistakes. So that's where now, as I think we had our record lead day inbound. We did 57 leads in one day. And it's like, great, we're going for 100 leads a day. We don't do rank and rent. We generate leads for ourselves and we try and build businesses.
The 57 leads of potential businesses looking for SEO services.
No, so this is across our company. So we have 30 client, 10 of this, 5 of that. So we have, the catering company that's 6 figures. We get maybe
Okay, got it.
yeah,
Okay.
it's across. It's not 100 SEO leads a day.
Okay.
Our retention is pretty decent, so I don't need that much anymore as I did in the beginning when I made more mistakes, when I was trying to figure out how to become an owner as opposed to an operator. So then there was much more of a need for me to come back in, whereas now there isn't. So, I think structurally, some things that for me are important. So I have a ratio that I tell the team, 5 to 1. I say we will hire 5 people for every 1 role that we have. I mean, pass the interview, start month 1, and then we will fire 4, or they will leave themselves because they just aren't matched. So that has been very helpful to me. When I'm hiring for 1, I hire a minimum of 3 people. And then I just see who stands out and who rises above the pack. So I always do that. That has been very, very helpful. So when I get a commission-based sales rep, or now we have salaried guys as well, right now we have Michelle, Reggie, and Chi-Chi, 3 new girls that have come on for 1 sales position. And they're like, we don't need all of these. I said, I know.
So while you're on that topic, right? I don't mean to interrupt you. How many
Okay.
salespeople do you have? How many just in your SEO agency, not coffee or anything, right? What's the structure does it look like in your SEO agency? Overview approximately.
No, that's okay. So on our SEO agency, on the client side, we have Malcolm, Ishmael, Priyanka that do, and then Hasi. We have 5 people on the client servicing SEO side.
So when you say client servicing, what are they sales?
Okay, no. So on the sales side for us, okay, everyone is cross-channel. So our sales guys sell multiple products.
Okay.
So it's difficult. But okay, on the agency side, we have 2 account managers that manage a client. So we have 2, and I have a rule that 1 account manager should be able to manage around 10 clients, 10 to 15 clients.
Is it just client communication? Are they also taking care of the tasks, the project management?
No. So there's account management team that talk to clients and support with maybe sending reports and check in. But then there's account management team, there's delivery team, there's sales team. So sales, account management, delivery, and then there's back office. I might do like accounts and HR. But the company structure is sales reps, 50% commission based, 50% salaried. The commission based are all Americans, Brits, Canadians. The salaried, all South Africans because of the economic exchange rate. The salaried people are beginning to overtake the actual American reps, and because of the culture with full-time people. But that's kind of the sales structure. Every salesperson that come in is expected to learn to sell cross-channel products. So you have to learn to sell catering as well as to learn SEO, because I'm just going to put you on every calendar. So so we will recruit for that now. So it's cross-channel. They're like, cool, as long as the commissions make sense or whatever. I don't care. Account management team are actually more focused. So we have the digital account management team that do SEO, and we do bits of web development or B2B lead gen. It kind of is mixed, but predominantly SEO. Then we have account managers that are dedicated for the new business line. So an accountancy one, a legal one. Their businesses I'm still figuring out, right? So I'm kind of experimenting. And then we have the delivery team, all India and Pakistan. We used to have the Philippines, but it was too expensive. Then I moved to India. It's too expensive. And then I moved to Pakistan, and it's been great because it went down. And because of the differential for what I could get for $400 in Philippines versus India versus Pakistan, I got like a 3 to 1 talent return in Pakistan. So I thought, why don't I just go to Pakistan? Everything I can do.
So this account management, you said you have 2 just for the SEO, right? Or 2. I know they're cross and all that too. Yeah, their sole job is just client relationships, send reports, if there's client communication, stuff like that.
They had 0 background in digital. They were came and they were trained by me. So those 2, I had an intense level of training, and now they're training some of the other people that are beginning to come in.
Just client, they get from the delivery team, they get the reports, they send it to the clients.
Correct.
And where are they based out? Right,
South Africa.
Wow, awesome, nice. I love that.
South Africa. I for the way that we have worked, I prefer training people in-house. I don't like getting in experienced hires because I have to reteach everyone.
Same here, absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So I prefer that, and I think that it's also just more cost effective because you obviously train people up. I mean, there's obviously lots of challenges, but yeah, that's kind of the core of how we'll operate and
And then you
that's
have a few sales guys,
Mhm.
right? And almost right now, I think almost all your leads are organic. You don't do any outreach, do you?
No, we do zero outreach, but we do now also recently we have different units. So now we pay for leads on tradesman platforms. So we have a website called 𝐷.com, but there's many of these types of sites like Check a Trade, My Plumber, My Builder, in the UK. So now we pay for leads in cleaning and pay for leads in home
Right.
repair because it's just
But
quicker.
for SEO, digital clients, organic mostly.
Oh, the clients that come in for all the digital is 95% inbound from Google search, yeah.
So yeah, and I was before I talked to you, I was checking out pearllemon.com. It's coming up for 10,000 keywords. And I made a note to myself, gosh, I should build it out over time. My website too, right? My agency site. I don't know if you know that. 10,000 keywords. Yeah, Pearl coming
Oh,
up for.
I didn't know. That's one of several. Okay, so the other thing also is that we have so the way that we're going to get to 1,000 leads a day is, and it's quite sensible, but we have pearllemon.com, pearllemon.co.uk, pearllemonleads.ca. So we're ranking, we're doing multi-geo ranking,
Got it.
and we'll rank for several thousand keywords on the other sites as well if you went and searched all of
Okay.
them. So that's kind of the way also, and we do build rank and rent, but we build EMDs for ourselves. So
Yeah.
we know the keywords for our own business that make us the most money. So then we build EMDs just for
So
those.
something like marketing agency for chiropractors.com, stuff like
Yeah.
that.
So yeah, no, look, if I was to, I can't, can I share my screen? I'll just show you.
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead now. Yes, absolutely.
It's pretty, I mean, you know the process, but it's just the
Yes.
strategy
Go ahead.
sits underneath it. So we know that cold calling agency UK, because these people want leads.
Mhm.
Obviously, we don't care. I don't care about volume as
Right.
well.
Yep.
Care about leads.
Yep.
So we, that's us, cold calling agency UK, and that's actually our own site. So I know the keywords that make us money, and then I tell the team. So bubble tea catering, I think, for our catering side of it. So bubble tea
There
catering.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And the
so
first
that's
one that came up was the other one.
yeah, so that's us. That's us. That's us. Pearl Lemon Boba, Pearl Lemon Cafe, Pearl Lemon Boba. So we'll do that whole thing where I know
Nice.
one keyword makes us money, and then we'll rank several times on the same page. So that's us number one.
That's awesome.
We're there number two, number three, and then number four. So we have 4 results in this one search. So and they're all, I think it's across a couple of different websites. So because our costs shot down because I moved from Pakistan, my ability to scale SEO went up, and my version of it, and because we want to build £1 billion business, it's like I have to build the cleaning company rather than sell cleaning leads, because that has some level. I mean,
Right.
that's also where there's been some of a transition, but the SEO agency was always a place for me to learn the skills that would be powerful and building, hopefully, huge businesses. And that's
Love it.
why my personal MBA, as I call it, has been so
Got it.
useful, because I feel
Right.
like now is kind of day one with these other
This is
businesses.
amazing. This is awesome. I appreciate you sharing this. So most of the technical work fulfillment is Pakistan. The client relationship is South Africa. I'm assuming their time zones and their accent and all that communication is awesome. So that's one of the reasons you went to South Africa. Sales is a mixture of US-based commission, and what country outside the US are salespeople?
Let's say UK, Canada, all my sales guys, and now I'm beginning to build in South Africans as well. But USA,
And
UK,
and you get them the leads, right?
yeah, correct.
And for the leads that come in, is it some kind of in your websites? And let's just talk purely SEO leads, right? Not coffee leads or accounting leads.
Yeah.
Do they fill out? Do you have an offer in your website, like a free audit or something, or?
Really, people will obviously come to Pearl Lemon, let's just say, and they
Okay.
just, I mean, they'll come to whatever page they come to, but then
Right.
all leads will end up on the, well, if the site loads. But I mean,
Okay. All that.
yeah, but book a call, and then in here people can just come in and obviously submit a form. So it'll just be through here. And then
Awesome. I love it.
there's a price disclaimer. But yeah, I think there's a price disclaimer. Let me just have a look. Our prices start from, they need to change that to pounds. Actually, they've got it wrong. But yeah, no, this is the funnel. But obviously, we get people on WhatsApp. We get people like on all
Oh
of these
wow, I
different.
didn't even notice that. Oh wow.
Yeah, so we have Telegram because because we do.
So
And then we
you don't take any clients for SEO or PPC or anything less than $1,000. It's usually 3,000 and above.
yeah, we won't I said we turn away a decent amount of business. We're beginning to change that now to build in affiliate income. So now we're transitioning where every client who signs up with us has to sign up with our affiliate link to the lead gen platforms because we get good commission. So we're beginning to build the
Right.
affiliate via our clients, but it's very, very early stage.
Right.
Because we just turn away a lot of these guys, and for the commission for the sales guys, they're not as interested in the lower ticket stuff, so it does get lost. But I mean, yeah, there's leakage, but I mean, they're normal parts of a business. But yeah, no, they'll come in and then it'll be distributed. We have a lead distribution team who send all of the leads out to the different guys, and then they'll kind of pick them up and see what they can turn into
So
business.
do you have like a project manager or something like? How do you account for people? Are they doing their work on time? Web developers can take 24 hours for one task.
On a base system, everything changed. I scrapped all my time tracking. I scrapped all.
I did the
tracking
same thing. No time
hours.
tracking. Okay, awesome.
Basically, I think the big thing, as I discussed, was if you motivate you. So one of the things that changed for me was I recognized that I need to motivate the team to understand how working on a meta title could change the outcome of their future, and that wasn't obvious. And as entrepreneurs, we forget that because we have a different level of motivation when it comes to what we're trying to achieve, and you need to align your team with your. So now I have guys that come in on a Saturday because they want to. I have guys that will work evenings because they want to. I have guys that be like, oh, I watched a 5-hour PPC tutorial at the weekend because we had this client came in, and that was a big differential. And if you can build an environment where people feel motivated, inspired, and you focus on culture as well as people that naturally work hard, all of that stuff is nonsense because you're optimizing for the wrong thing. You're optimizing for people to fill in a tracking sheet, but it's bullshit. You can fake that. So that changed a lot also. I was like, let's bin all of that. I need to make this an enjoyable place to work. And that's, again, the whole thing about culture that I didn't appreciate. So that's also, I think sometimes that people don't understand is like, for me, I've begun to understand that. It's like, guys, if you can have your team look forward to Mondays and to get a bit excited about the start of the working week, you're going to have a team that's going to bleed yellow in the case of Pearl Lemon, but they're going to bleed for you and they're just going to do things. And actually, that's what you want. And anything that comes down as autocratic, as ultimately forced, it's going to not create the outcomes that you're looking for. So make them fall in love with your company and your brand. And that's what, as small business owners, I didn't really understand that until this year. And this last 4 months, we're back to the levels of profitability where we're on the 100K. It's like $30,000 like straight profit after all of my personal income's paid for, money left in the bank.
Wow.
That I was doing, but when I was so involved, then I was kind of screaming.
Yeah.
And we're still growing. And in fact, we lost some clients because we grew too quickly. The guys got overwhelmed. Like, okay, let's recalibrate. Let's go again.
Right.
But what changed? Because people said, what happened? Is like, I changed the way I began to speak to people. I said, look, that you can change your life because I'm here. And I say to guys, I'm like, guys, you're in Pakistan. I want to make you all bloody rich. I want to get you to a stage where I can pay you 5x without even worrying about it.
Right.
The way that happens is by XYZ. And we watch motivational videos. We talk about books about. I don't talk to them about technical implementation because if you give them the necessary motivation, they'll do those things themselves. So that has been a huge change in my business.
I'm seeing so much similarities. It is crazy. My project manager in my agency, she routinely makes 3 or 4x because of her salary, because she's so ingrained with both my community and coaching and also my clients. She comes up with these ideas and then we implement them and we see the revenue go up, and I'm happy to share a percentage, right? I was listening to somebody else, I forget his name now. This guy grew his marketing agency to 3, 4, 5 million and then sold it for 20 million, if I'm not wrong. And he said the same thing. His biggest, like the average, I think he was doing ads, if I'm not wrong, the average Google Ads employee I think he was in Pakistan or India, wherever he was hiring, if it was $500 a month, he was paying his guys $2,500 a month, right?
Yeah.
But they were trained up to the level, and they had ownership, and they like he had the time to build his business, to work on his business, because the people working in his business, his employees and all the operation details, they didn't have to worry. They treated it like their own company.
Yeah. Amazing.
I
Amazing.
love
Amazing.
that.
Yeah.
Let's quickly shift gears. Deepak, I know you don't have too much time. So SEO agency is going good for you. You're getting married, you're moving across country, you're doing marathons, you're buying dogs and cats, right? And then you decide, let me start an accounting company. Because I was like, my wife is an accountant. And for the longest time, I'll always be telling her we should start an accounting company. And then I see you approaching an accounting company. I'm like, oh my God, whatever I'm thinking, this Deepak dude is just implementing. I'm just analyzing paralysis of analysis, right?
Yeah.
So how does that cleaning company or accounting company, obviously you need somebody who knows accounting, who knows legal, right? Or somebody like, how do you partner with somebody in that and then start generating leads? Is that how it is?
So I'll basically start by explaining why I decided to start these particular businesses. So number one, I think that I looked at my accountant and I saw that his level of service isn't great compared to how I service marketing clients versus how he services me versus how I'm afraid of leaving because there's a high cost of change and it's sticky business. I looked at that and I watched something that 𝐼𝐀𝐂𝐄𝐁𝐎𝐿 spoke about when he said, if I could do it all over again, he said, I'm in love with business. I'm not attached to a business. I would have made way more money if I picked a niche that was sticky, involved a pain with a high cost of change. And he said, marketing agencies are absolutely not that. They're commoditized, there's low cost of change, and there isn't a perception of value. So it's a much, much more difficult business. Accounting agencies can be smaller to start, but they can grow and they have significantly higher multiples in terms of exit potential.
Yeah.
So I immediately said, well, I know how to generate leads. I want to start an accounting company because there can be a much bigger outcome in 10 years from now, 15 years from now, because I'm paid. I can wait. I don't need an immediate outcome. So that was why. That was why. So then in terms of the how, one of the other things that we have 3 people that are full-time focused on hiring. So all we do is we just post job ads immediately whenever I have an idea. And then we follow the 5-to-1 ratio. So we have a paid subscription on, for example, 𝐼𝐀𝐿, which is India's premier graduate recruitment platform.
What's it called again?
𝐼𝐀𝐿. So SHALA. And then there's obviously equivalents if you ask ChatGPT in every country that's a developing economy. So if you then focus on the top percentile people in developing economies, of course you're going to get great people because the world is borderless. So then, I generate leads, and then we look at like interns and or ultimately, new starters who've just finished, for example, a legal degree or an accounting degree. And then the bits that we can't service, we have a CPA or an accountant, because and this is the thing, a lot of legal and accounting work doesn't require actual accountants or lawyers. That's if you go to, so one of the fundamental misunderstandings that people have, for example, about law, don't you need to be a lawyer? No. The only part you need a lawyer is if you actually go into the judicial system. But if you settle something privately, which is a majority of legal issues, it's a private matter. So it's just representing themselves.
Expertise there,
And most things get settled out of court because that's better for most people. Therefore, you don't need a lawyer. So when I understood that, so we charge £247 an hour for our legal consulting advice, and people pay it because as long as the advice is good.
How about accounting? I'm a little bit more interested in accounting. Did you say you have accountants? You're accountant in the UK, but also somebody helping you from India?
Yeah, so we have a South African girl at the moment called 𝐿, and she does a lot of the accounting strategy that we'll put together. And she's an accounting graduate, but then we combine her with, for example, a combination of ChatGPT and then just common sense, as I call it. So the world of common sense, like this is what they're trying to optimize for. And then when it's, for example, an actual tax filing where that's required, we will then work with my actual accountant, who we then subcontract some of the work to. So that's where.
Are these clients in the US or the UK? Your accounting clients?
We get leads for both, but predominantly most of them are UK.
Okay. And is it bookkeeping also, like a local business monthly bookkeeping, or is that not?
So we've not done any bookkeeping yet. It's been mostly self-assessments and then strategy. So a lot of it has been strategy where people come in and they say, look, I want to buy all this, but then we get to understand their business and say, well, why don't we look at the overall strategy around what your
Got it.
intentions are? So we'll lean into and we over-index on selling strategy because it's higher value work and it doesn't require actually any book filings. And they just, so then that's where we're focused because we don't have an accountant in-house anyway. But also some of that stuff tends to the beginning stuff. We have had obviously leads come in that are high value, but we've not yet been in a position to really service them because I'm like, well, we can't do this. So that's kind of where we're starting. And then the rationale behind it is, as we said, it's slow, I'm patient, I've got time. And the reason I got into it is exactly what we've just discussed. I looked at marketing as an industry and the inbuilt feelings that people have about it versus accounting. I thought, well, if I'm a marketer in an accounting world, hopefully I should be able to crush, which is ultimately the goal over a longer timeline once I understand the business properly, because I'm still learning.
So then you started a legal company, then you start catering and coffee, and you have operators running there. You're getting the leads, your salespeople can do the sales.
Yeah, so I think it's worth knowing that my original first ever business was a physical business. So I came from a physical background before I started the agency. So my first ever business was a recording studio, and I built the recording studio at my parents' place. We converted a room, like my dad and I, but we went and bought the materials, we drilled and put holes up. I'd have musicians that would come in. I bought all of the hardware back in 2008, and I learned how to mix and stuff. So I came from a background of being used to physical in-person services. So that has been helpful in ultimately getting involved in like home repair, which is a physical service, and as well as having several coffee shops, physical service, and that's been very helpful. So I think that I mean obviously it's my vision for my future, but I just looked at the way that I was building as an SEO or as a lead generator, let's say, and I thought, why don't you just figure out the delivery as well? Because then you can do, horizontal integration, and you can vertical integration, and you can, have the actual lead, but, build out the whole supply chain. So it's a longer startup period, because probably if I just did SEO, I could maybe build like a $5 million agency as an example, right? Probably. Maybe I will get there, but that won't get me to £1 billion revenue company. That's what's clear to me. And when I had a long conversation with ChatGPT, I said, ChatGPT, given my skills and given the things that I want to do, I'm 38. By 50, I want to do £1 billion in revenue. What came close to bottom of all the business I was trying? They're like, there's no evidence of marketing companies that achieve those outcomes unless they're tech enabled. It's just, they just said, based upon historical data, because I predict, but they said there's no evidence.
Marketing is mostly cash flow companies, right?
Yeah. So that was what happened. I had that conversation, my friend, 6 months ago, and it changed everything. I started the cleaning company. I started the repairs company. I started to begin to change my focus a lot more into accounting and legal. And I sought to, as aggressively as I could, get even further away from the agency.
So last question on this. I love that this is a masterclass for anybody who's looking to grow their agency or like a holding company, right? Selfish question, biggest personal question, right? That's my vision too. Start a cleaning company, start home repair contractors, accounting. Like, I don't know if I'll touch legal now, but similar to other businesses, right?
Yeah, sure.
But I'm seriously thinking of going and living in Australia.
Amazing.
Right? But most of my business is going to be in US, more clients.
Yeah.
What are you finding? Is that, like you said, the world is borderless. We got everything in Zoom and phone and WhatsApp. Or are you thinking there's something, one or two things that I should probably look for, plan for, anything at all? Or is that like...
So you're cash flow positive. So obviously you can afford to build things that could service the future outcome that you want. So I would immediately begin building a couple of lead gen sites in Australia or in that time zone. I mean, that immediately for me just stands out as being the thing that I would begin to build now. So in 18 months, if that's when I ultimately move to Australia, I'm already getting 20, 30 leads a week, month, whatever. So that's just like area number one that you would build. obviously the good thing is that you're building a base and then you're going to a different time zone. So really it's about the time, 12-hour difference being the problem, whatever it might be, you know, US to
Right.
Australia. So you would then really identify. So one of the things that it took me 4 goes at it before I got it right. Okay. So 4 times I went to all of the most important people in my company and I said, give me a list of all of the things that you asked me. If I was to disappear tomorrow because I wanted to take a vacation, what are all of the things that you need from me? So they built their list and then we built a spreadsheet to identify how all of those questions could be answered. And then I said, cool, now I'm going to take a forced vacation from work for 1 week. And we're going to put this theory to the test and we're going to see how much shit breaks. I had to do that 4 times before it got to the stage where actually now I'm only involved if there's something we've never done before. And I'm like, okay, cool. This is my opinion on it. So I had to do that 4 times over 18-month period to get it actually to a place where it actually worked. Because every time you discover things that no one kind of thought of, that they were like, oh, I didn't know this would happen. So you build better for the next time, So that would be
I
the
love
2.
that. No, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Because one of you, like these little things that you post, right? Running, so many leads, organic leads. I post things too, right? We just post it because we are excited about it or we learn something. You'll be surprised. It is touching somebody's life. I learned so much from you, right? Honest to God. And all these little things, it'll come back as, call it karma or whatever, vibration or whatever, right? So I truly appreciate whatever you're putting out in the universe as you're figuring things out and moving. I know time is up. I'd love to keep doing the conversation. One last thing. As part of this fundraising for my charity that I'm supporting in Sri Lanka, I'm asking everyone who I'm talking to, is there anything of value that you can give to my community? Most are marketing communities and entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs. You could totally say no, but anything that you can give away. So they donate a couple of dollars, $7, $8. They get all these interviews, right? Along with a lot of my free training. But if they donate a little bit more from every single person I'm interviewing, they're getting something of value, some secret training. Some people give their time. Somebody gave us some credits on their software. So anything like that either you can think of now or if you want to think about later on, I would truly appreciate that.
Absolutely. So I'll give you 2 things. Number one, I've got a WhatsApp CRM tool called 𝐷𝐴𝐻. So people, if they wanted to, obviously could go via you. I'll give away 5 lifetime deals for anyone who actually contributes towards a charity. So you can just confirm those names with me. That'd be the first thing. Second thing is I've got actually a training program about how to build a 7-figure business and in 4 hours a week. So it talks about in great detail some of the things that we've just been discussing. I've got like about 10, 12-hour training program on how I built my business. So I'll give that to the 2 people that donate the highest ultimately.
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you so much. In fact, I think I'm going to donate it just to get that. Okay, I'm going to make a note of it. Thank you so much. Right. So it's a training program and how to build a 7-figure agency.
Yeah, in 4 hours a week, because the
4 hours a
principle
week.
people care about is obviously the time freedom. Is that achievable with agency? And I'm not perfect, but I'm happy with where I've got because I've got to a stage. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then same here. I'm not perfect, but I routinely every week I've been having coaching calls in my program for 6 years now, every single week without missing. Maybe once or twice I may have missed it, but literally every single week. And sometimes because we are far along the journey, we take it for granted, right? But that's so new and life-changing, and just to see their eyes go up, right? Because I saved some time, I made the money. That is something else, I'm telling you, right?
Agreed.
I truly thank you, Deepak. I have a community of 10,000 entrepreneurs. Anything you want to promote, feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to do it because I want to make sure you get some ROI in terms of time, karma, however you want to call it, right? But I think you just keep posting on your personal profile as you keep running more and growing more companies. We learn from that. That itself is a big learning thing for us. So thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Thank you for your time, man.
Thanks again. I appreciate that.